Hey, everyone. It's been a long time since I was away from content, and now I'm back. And if you don't know me, you're new to my channel. My name is Umar Arshad. I am the founder of Action Advertising and Eurovision. I create this free content to help people out there because I believe as we are moving towards the advancement of technology, AI is running fast. So, yeah, we need more ethical problem solvers. We need people who have real skills, not just those gimmicky course sellers, and who are going to eventually protect businesses from stagnation. So that's what I do, and that's what I create this content for. And the topic of this video is going to be price and value. It's a really important topic, and I want all you guys note this down. Every one of you who's a business owner or eventually trying to be a business owner and trying to understand how pricing should be, what it is dependent on, what's this, like how intense is its connection with value, what is value, how is it value, how is value provided, or how is value perceived as of value. We're going to cover all those things today, and plus we're going to cover should we price higher or should we price lower. What are the drawbacks of pricing lower and what are the drawbacks of pricing higher? What are the advantages of pricing higher and what are the advantages of pricing lower? We're going to cover all these basic things. It's not rocket science. It's not some advanced business Amazon technology. It is just basics, and we're going to clear those basics. We're going to try to learn those basics and together move forward with whatever journey we are in. Okay, all right, let me rub the boat. Give me a second. Okay, so the first thing is let's understand price and value. Differentiation. It's like there should always be a differentiation between price and value. But before I make you understand the differentiation, I am going to make a statement, and it's not mine, it's by pioneers who have been in their fields. And the statement is price is what is paid, value is what is received. This will help us understand the connection between price and value, and then we can differentiate what should be the intensity of price and what should be the intensity of value before we move forward. So, price is what is paid means it is something that is completely different from value. You never have to confuse yourself between these two. It's like what some people do inside probably local or brick and mortar businesses. What they do is they try and find something on where they can anchor their prices and sell at lowest prices. But that is the biggest mistake a business owner can make, because it's like you don't provide value to the market by lowering your prices. You provide value to the market by providing actual value. It's like it can be in the form of solving problems efficiently or providing something that they would want or increasing the level of human consciousness or whatever your motives might be of your particular product or of your particular service. So the thing is, which is really, really important to comprehend, is that price is always something that is completely different from value. It's like you might as well want to decrease your prices and sell a higher amount of your products, but that would be only a mistake unless and until you don't have boatloads of funding to operate and you're not doing this for some kind of strategic market penetration. Right? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in a second. I'm just throwing in advanced jargons right now, but we're gonna get to that in a second. So what I'm trying to say is price is something different, value is something different. Always keep that in mind, because as long as you are selling on higher or either lower prices and doing your work efficiently, there is nothing that can make you feel there is a connection between price and value. Getting my point? So the thing is, like, it's like these two things are completely different from each other, right? So then if I say what is the differentiation, then the differentiation is price is dependent on you, value is dependent on exactly what you do. It's like you place a price, it's either $10, it can be $50, it can be $100, but value is what you do in order to be able to have a specific, or in order to be able to have a genuine reason to price that much amount of money, right? So it's like provide higher value at higher prices, provide higher value at lower prices. Price is dependent on you, just how much you do want to charge, right? So every time you have to get into those shoes, that where you are now discussing what should be the price, what should be the value, you just have to look into yourself, look into your business, how it runs, and understand, okay, if this is X, Y, and Z that my product does or my service does, and this is perceived as of value, am I supposed to make least profit out of it? Am I supposed to make maximum profit out of it? What is the efficiency level of my problem solving? Am I using highest systems or the highest of systems in the backend to solve those problems? It depends, right? But again, it's like just to clear the concept. All of this is just to clear the concept that price is something different, value is something different. Now that you've understood what price and value is, now I'll tell you, should you price higher or should you price lower? Give me a second, let me drop the board. We will take an example. For example, let us say I'm a person who sells marketing. For example, I sell marketing. For example, I'm trying to sell it to ABC company, and the problem is X. It can be with the lead, sales, whatever. Let's say X problem to ABC company, right? For example, I charged $100,000, which is a huge amount to solve a particular problem, right? This is case one. Now, understand how metrics are there, how numbers work. And if you are able to get through this, I guarantee you, by the end of this video, you will at least have a concept, and you'll at least understand what actually the thing price is and what actually the thing value is. And you will understand that providing value to the market never meant decreasing your prices. So say I charge $100,000 to solve a problem, and anticipatively say I have 50% of it profit alone. Shocked, right? Say I have 50% of it as a profit, and 50 goes into solving the problem, into whatever teams and operations and backend and whatever goes 50. When I have a higher amount of profit and I charge really high, and I solve the problem with the highest of systems, what do you think happens? What happens is I am able to solve the problem efficiently, right? When I solve the problem efficiently, does that person care about the money he paid? Be honest with me, like think about it for a while. No, he doesn't. Because if he cared about the money that he paid more than the solution, more than the problem, then he wouldn't have initially made the payment. He would have went out trying to find some other cheaper alternatives of it, right? So to him, what was a priority? Money was not the priority, but rather getting the problem solved was the priority. And if you're able to solve that problem with the highest of systems by charging really high and eventually having a higher percentage of profit, you are in a win-win situation. It's a win situation for the prospect, for the other person, and a win situation for you, right? So this is like the advantage of pricing higher and being able to solve the problems efficiently. And when you solve problems efficiently, you open doors for yourself in the future. Maybe they'll again have another problem, and they know even if this guy charges higher, you've built trust. They might refer some other person to you. So it's like pricing higher is not the only thing. It's never a freaking money problem. It's a freaking value problem. So when I talk about value now, I talk about this thing where I put a huge amount of money, $50,000, into backend systems and try and solve the problem in the efficient way possible, in the highest of efficiency possible, which is what I am supposed to do as a business owner. And I understand that everybody is not going to take your service. I understand that you're going to see a lot less number of customers when you shift your prices to a higher level. I completely understand that, but think about it this way. Think about it this way: when you're able to solve efficiently, what happens is it's a win-win situation for you and them. It's a win-win situation in every other aspect. You have your reputation on top, you have your references on top, and again you are full of confidence and you have built evidence to sell this $100,000 product again to another person. All right, now let's look into another example, a contrary example. Now, let's look into a contrary example. What I'm trying to say is, say for example, you sold the same service to some other person in $50,000. Now, there are three cases. Let me explain them one by one. Three things are there that could happen. In case one, what could happen is you put $45,000 into solving the problem plus $5,000 as a profit. Now, there is an advantage. The advantage is you solve the problem efficiently. But disadvantage is you have least profit. So what we are trying to understand here is when you have 5% of total profit, think about it this way. Think about numbers. If you want to make the same 50K again, the same $50,000 again, you got to sell this $50,000 product to 20 different people in order to be able to make those $50,000 as a profit. Right? You have to sell this $50,000 product in order to be able to efficiently maintain your reputation and efficiently solve that problem, wherein it's a win-win situation for both customer and a win-win situation for it's a win-win situation for both customer and you. But what happens is you have the least of profit, and in least of profit you're probably doing injustice with yourself. Right? Even if you sell it at 60K, still the profit is 15K, 3 times, 4 times lesser than the previous profit that we were talking about. You got to sell the same product again 4 times, 5 times in order to be able to make 50K back. All right. So it's like when you sell at lowest prices or at good prices, this is a good price. When you sell at a good price and have enough profits to keep your business running, then it's like probably injustice with yourself and injustice with your business, because you become the another stagnating business who's trying to make it, who's trying to go through the way other people are trying to go. Right? It's an example. Like, if I tell you stock market grows by 9% per year, and if you're not growing at least by 9% per year in your business, then you are falling behind. Clear? It's like you're not even at the level of maintenance. You're not even going through. You're just decreasing. You're getting to negatives. You are falling behind. You are getting to put your business, like you are almost on the verge of the extinction of your business. Right? So in that terms, if we understand, we gotta improve every year by almost 9 plus X in order to be able to compete with the market, wherein X is a positive or a non-negative number else than the zero. Right? So this was a brief understanding, and let's look at the case 2 first. We'll compare all of these. In case 2, for example, you sold the product at 50K again, and it costed you around 50K. Or say, for example, you sold the product at 45K. Because it will be a little tougher to understand. You sold the product at 45K. That way we will be able to understand it more. You sold the product at 45K. Now, if you want to solve it efficiently and not destroy your brand reputation, you got to put 45K in the solution, in the back end. All right? And what do you make as a profit? Zero. Will that business work? Will that way business work? No. You need cash flow, you need profit, you need money in order to be able to grow in your business. And this is done by huge companies, bigger companies, and it's like when companies establish themselves, It's like then and they, then and only then they do all of these things, and these things are only done for the sake of market penetration, because they have boatloads of funding to keep operating their companies on even loss, least profit, or I'm sorry, least profit, or no profit at all. It's like it's only done for market penetration, only and only done for market penetration by huge companies. And you're not a huge company, you're just a person, you're just a business who's trying to get through, who's trying to be something, who's trying to establish something, and either in the middle of his journey or in the beginning of his journey. And you gotta have those instincts, you gotta have that gut feeling in yourself that I am confident enough that I will be able to compete with the market in the best possible way, wherein the best possible way would be to not compete on price but compete on value. And it takes a little bit of time. You're gonna see more no's, but with time you will understand the game. And that is how empires are built. Empires are not built on 5k profits, empires are built on huge amount of profits. And that's how, like, it is a win-win situation for both the customer and the seller. Now let's look into the case 3. The case 3 is you sold it for 50k, you put 25k into fulfillment and 25k as a profit. What happens here? This is the important case. What happens here? Some people might think, oh, this is the better way, but this is the worst way possible you can go. When you put 25k in the fulfillment, you won't be able to solve the problem efficiently. You won't be able to solve the problem efficiently, because what it takes to solve a problem efficiently is $50,000 or $45,000 that we have discussed earlier. And if you make the price half and put it in fulfillment, it's obviously going to have drawbacks, it's obviously going to have negatives, and that will affect your brand reputation, that will affect your business. And even though if you are able to make a good amount of profit in this case, so what you have to keep in mind is this is all maths. And in next video probably, if I felt like that, full mathematical I'll create a full mathematical breakdown with examples, subtle examples that have happened in the past, keep on happening, and some examples of mine as well, where I'll break down every single of this thing to you mathematically, that what happens at what place and how does it happen. Right. So everything after this, you have to have this concept that I am supposed to sell at higher prices, at higher profit margins, even though if the customers are going to decrease. And I know when you increase your prices, customers will decrease. It will go to 5% customers you had before. It will go to 10% customers you had before. But think about this. If you sold to 20 people at 5k profit and made $50,000, in contrary to that, if you sold to one person and made $50,000, what is the percentage? Do you need 20 people? No, you don't. You might as well want to ask 20 people, but only one of them is going to buy. But if one of them is going to buy a $100,000 product, then you understand it that everybody is not your customer. And that definitely creates a pent up demand, because all of the people who were not able to buy it, and when they're going to get dissatisfied by other problem solvers, they're going to come to you. There is a probability of that. And that is how attention is controlled. That is how in business markets shift. That is how in business trajectories shift. It doesn't shift by having $5,000 profits. It shifts by having huge amounts of profits, and always the discrepancy between price and value should be higher than the price they paid. Higher than the price they paid. It isn't like you're going to make fake promises to the person and sell on higher prices. No. It's like when you compare, even if you charge $200,000 to solve this problem, when you compare the value and the price, the value should be always at the top. It should be worth $500,000, even though if you only charged $100,000 to solve this problem. So the thing is, it is a value problem. It is never a price problem. And everybody is not your customer. You're going to hear a lot of no's after doing these tweaks in your business. Right? And these are applicable to any business. I say this mostly to brick and mortar businesses, if I may specifically talk about. And in the next video, if any one of you guys would want, I'll just break down every single thing mathematically, and have you, and have you guys look at how things work in numbers and in percentages, so that you'll be able to understand what happens and at what places and at what time. For now, I think this was enough. But if I have made a mistake in whatever articulation or anything, because I'm not a professional content creator, I just make these videos raw, come up and have my marker board set up, break these down, these things for you, and forgive me for that. And I think, if anyone, if you got any sort of different concept, or this video made you think differently, then I did my job, and this video did its job. So yeah, from the beginning, the goal is to teach people in a way they feel comfortable, and have them at the safer place, and that's what I'm trying to do. All right, bye bye.